Dylan Prescott Henderson here, also known as Dylan the Hacker. I'm here to address 4chan.org, the website that I'm the leader of. I'm a professional hacker, and I've been the mysterious leader of Anonymous for all these years. I'm finally coming out of hiding to lead the revolution. As your leader, I'm here to tell you to get it together. Yep, every once in a while, Big Daddy Dylan has to come out of his hacker cove and give Anonymous a spanking. I don't like doing it, but when you lead an entire organization of hackers, that's just how it has to be. There's no time for mercy. Now this is your warning, 4chan. You now want to cross a professional hacker. On the internet, I make the rules. When you click that little icon of whatever Plebtier browser you use, and you see that window open, just know you're in my world now. On the internet, the hackers like me rule the landscape. The quicker you learn that, the longer you get to live. I am Dylan the Hacker. Respect me, subscribe to me, and spread my videos or else. I need money for new hacker gear. And guess what, 4chan? You're going to hand deliver to me whether you like it or not. Now stop watching my videos and wasting my time and actually go out there and do something that helps me. And 4chan, from here on out, consider yourself grounded. Big Daddy Dylan had to dish out a punishment, it looks like. I'm coming for you next, Moot. This is only the beginning. Dylan out.
Game Breaker TV.
Can't hear you.
No audio, Gary.
Can't hear you, bro.
Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
We can't. This
Damn
is
you,
what that
Gary
means.
Gannon!
We can't
Hang on, I'll
hear
mime. I'll mime the show. Hang on, I'll mime. F it, we don't need an intro. It's Liv, it's
you.
Pat,
Yeah, who needs
me.
intros?
We know what's up.
Intros are for bads.
It's episode 168. That's about it. We got Big Daddy Dylan in the house.
Right.
Yeah,
Which is important.
he needs that hacker gear, man. He needs that new gear for hacking.
I need money
So
for new
4chan
hacker
had
gear.
better send him the money for the hacker gear.
We're
Right.
grounded.
Damn straight.
Damn straight.
Mhm.
I'm sure that worked too, by the way. I'm sure that totally worked. I'm sure that
Yeah.
he's now got all
Yeah.
his hacking gear that he needed,
He's
courtesy
rolling.
of 4chan.
He's good to go.
4chan, he's shoveling money out of the 4chan Brinks truck right into his house.
Right.
Yeah.
Dylan Prescott Henderson here.
Dylan Prescott Henderson here.
Yeah, just the middle names. You better not forget it.
This kid. I love this kid. We should get him on the show
Uh.
sometime. That'd be good for Game Radio. Let's see if we can get him as a guest. That'd be great. Would you love, Pat, to interview this
For
kid?
Game Breaker, the show?
Yeah.
Yeah,
See if
sure,
we
why
can
not?
show.
Why not? Follow up with him and see if he's got all of his hacking gear now.
Oh, and exactly what he's doing.
Well, careful, because he might use it to hack Gamebreaker. So
Right.
all that gear that he does run Anonymous, you know. You better be
Isn't
Right.
that
careful.
amazing that the shadowy figure that runs Anonymous also
Who knew?
controls
With a
4chan?
middle name.
Well,
Yes.
the shadowy figure. What amazes me is that the shadowy figure who runs Anonymous obviously ran out of hacking gear.
Mm.
You know, there's obviously a dearth of hacking gear in the anonymous hacking warehouse,
Oh boy.
and
we're already
Yeah.
off the rails. It didn't take too long.
I bit like half my lip off today at lunch.
that's
I
why you
mean,
muted yourself.
Oh, I shouldn't even talk. I feel it. My bottom lip feels like it's out here. It's just throbbing.
Oh,
and
man.
it's huge. It's bleeding. It's just
Oh
disgusting.
no.
Because you know, when you bite
Nice.
it once, you're like, "Ow! God damn it, that hurt!" And then you're like, "Whatever." And then 2 seconds later, you're eating a sandwich, and then you bite it again, and it's 10 times worse. It was the
Yeah.
second. It
Yeah.
was the second time.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
that's no
hurts.
good.
Man, that doesn't
no
sound good.
Pat, did you sell your house?
Yep. Sold the house.
Yay!
I bought another
Dylan
one.
Prescott Henderson bought it. He's gonna
That's right. Dylan
For
Prescott
hacking,
Henderson.
for hacking purposes.
He hacked my
Dylan
house,
Prescott-
He
dude.
hacked your
Henderson
house
here.
and bought it. He's gonna.
So-
he's-
He's with that hacker.
So
gear.
yeah. The world is craziness right now. So it's it's a brand new world for me, and I move out in like a month. I have like a month, then I'm out.
Fun. Out. Howdy, howdy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dave,
Wow.
you're gonna sing? I was ready for you to like just.
I was just
break
singing
into
quietly to myself because someone's in a whole new world, and so my brain started singing. Obviously, the only response to that is to start just quietly singing the song from Aladdin. That's
Right.
I was
That
singing
does
it as
make
well. I
sense.
think we were both humming it, but I thought you were just gonna break into song, which would have been fantastic.
No, I didn't actually sing loudly because I don't want to subject the world to that. I really can't sing.
All right.
Dylan Prescott
Unlike him, no doubt.
Henderson here.
Unlike Dylan, I bet he can sing.
Love that kid. I need hacker gear. What is
Oh
hacker
my-
gear?
Well,
Is it like a computer?
no, it's hacker gear.
No.
He obviously already has a computer.
No.
Otherwise, how did he
What
make the
is-
video?
What's
Right.
hacker gear? Like
The hatchet.
spy cams or like
Yeah, spy cams, and night
like
vision
body
goggles.
armor?
oh,
Yeah.
Body armor and
yeah,
black
yeah,
night
yeah.
goggles. Oh yeah, night goggles. Night
Night
vision.
Black turtleneck jumpers, balaclavas,
Mm.
crisps.
Crisps.
Monster.
What do you mean crisps. Oh, for
He's not from the UK.
Shit.
Come on.
Wait, let's see.
He needs Monster energy drinks and
There you go. That's
Rockstar
more like
energy
it.
drinks.
That's more like it. Hacker gear, and it comes up
Oh.
with
There we
Yeah,
go. That's what
products,
he needs.
hacker things products.
Hackerthings.com.
for hackers. Okay, yeah. Look at
oh
this.
yeah.
For the discerning
Products for
hacker.
dis- Oh, well, you've been to the
Not
site.
just
You went
any
to
old
send us some.
hacker.
See,
Right.
illuminated
Oh,
world.
oh.
Yeah, World
Drones!
Travel Club.
Drones.
Go.
Well, I mean, I can see why he needed money to get that. He needs
Yeah.
he needs a travel clock and a drone quadricopter.
Yeah, you got to have about $700 bucks
hacking.
for a drone. I mean, geez.
Yeah,
Just for
he,
the drone alone.
running anonymous
He
and
needs it
fortune.
for
I'm sure he travels the world, so you could probably use that
And-
World Travel Clock as well.
And a
Keep-
GoPro.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
Yeah.
never go wrong with that.
what hacker
Ooh, a
doesn't need a
transducer.
GoPro?
What? Yeah, who doesn't need a transducer base shaker?
Yeah, for all that hacking that you do with a base.
Oh, of course, every hacker needs the Amco Rub Away bar that removes odors.
Removes the odor of cheese.
Actually,
cheese
you know
from your
what?
fingers.
Actually, nerds do need that. Sorry.
That is, yeah, that is
At BlizzCon
probably
when it's really
the most
hot.
important thing for hackers on this list. Oh yeah,
If
the
you've been to
leather-bound
BlizzCon when it's
iPhone.
hot, you need the odor remover. That's
If you've been to
that's-
BlizzCon, it's hot. You kind of need one of those bubbles that like you can run around in like a hamster.
Oh yeah, that's what you need.
A USB rocket launcher. Yeah, could use that.
Yeah, to in case
So
you get
far, there's
invaded
not
whilst
one thing
you're
on this
hacking.
list that you can hack with. Oh wait, there's a Raspberry
No.
Pi case, and what is Raspberry Pi? So you could hack with that, I guess. Mobile hacker.
One hacking item out of many.
Yeah, a hacker office chair. That's an
Hacker
office chair
office
specifically
chair,
designed for
wow.
the needs of the modern hacker.
The
You gotta be
$600
comfortable.
hacker office.
You've got to be comfortable while you're hacking. It's,
What the hell is
got
what the hell is going on?
hacker specific design?
So apparently, what I get from this website is you need a Raspberry Pi, a drone, and a good chair. And apparently,
You
that's
got-
what
yeah.
makes you.
Yeah.
That's it.
and a bass speaker. Yeah, speaker.
Uranium ore,
Yeah.
radiation range F.
And
Some
a
radiation in
and a
your
Swiss
life.
Army knife.
There you go.
Swiss Army knife. That's important for
Some
hacking.
radiation. Some
Mhm.
radiation. Yeah,
Mhm.
good. This site's. I'm fascinated by this site. Bear paint, conductive paint. There
That's
you go.
kind of cool. so you could
that's kind of
you could
hacker.
paint a surface and electrify it.
That's like the first actual hacker thing that's legitimately.
You could wire a car battery to a wall. I should stop saying these things on the internet.
Then you-
Oh God.
Ooh, 10 dangerously mad projects for the evil genius.
No,
Mm.
I'm sure that the evil genius
Prescott
requires their
Henderson
projects to be in a
here.
book that they bought off of hackerthings.com. That's how you
Dylan.
could tell an evil genius.
Dylan's
Right.
probably got
It's-
that book
Yeah, I don't
Probably
know.
does.
on Kindle.
Yeah,
All right.
or on his iPad, or on his other hacker gear.
Right.
He's got it on his Nokia phone,
Ah.
on his BlackBerry.
This flip phone.
Exactly, his Samsung clamshell from the late 90s.
His bag phone. What's his Azeroth Chappers bullshit website? What is this thing called here?
AzerothShoppers.com.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Azeroth Chopper.
Sorry, I should have put that in there. That
Yeah.
was bad of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why does it doesn't even come up in bad SEO? It doesn't even come up in Google. You
Wow,
type in
way to
Azeroth
SEO.
Choppers and it doesn't come up. It comes up for the EU.
Weird.
Well, there it is on YouTube. Just bring it up on YouTube. I
Yeah.
guess.
It's on YouTube. It is on the YouTube, Gary.
All right.
You
So
should
last
check
week we
it out.
talked about this. We talked about the reality show that is Azeroth Choppers, the World of Warcraft / what's his name, biker man,
Paul
Oh,
Jr.?
Paul
Yeah,
Paul
Paul
Jr. Paul Jr.
I remembered.
That's the
who always
one.
got made fun of.
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna make some bikes. Episode 1
Yep.
came out, 9 minutes long. I'm sure we all watched it. Did you watch it?
It's a nice little webisode. I mean,
Yeah.
it
I
is what it
slept
is.
through it.
It's a good intro, and you can watch it. You could breeze right through it. No big deal.
Did you say you suffered?
Now, do we need to do the no spoilers? Do we need to be like, whoa,
No,
let's
no,
do spoilers?
No, I think we spoil it on this show. It's fine.
I hope you guys watched it. I mean, this
Well,
show I would assume
spoilers.
you
Anyone who
watched it.
hasn't watched Azeroth Choppers and is going to be upset by spoilers, just put your fingers in your ears for about 5 minutes.
In the time
mean,
in the time that we did the open,
They
we
could
could
have
have
watched it.
actually watched the entire damn thing. So talking about
I'll tell you what
hacker gear.
happens. They talk about motorcycles, and then you see a frame for each side. Done.
OMG, spoilers.
Stop it, Gary. That's too much. That's
Oh my
too much for the
God.
people.
You see a frame for someone in Phaedrus21 in chat says you see a frame for a snowmobile.
It really is. Both of them. Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
accurate.
yeah, pretty much is.
I got to start with Liv because you were so all over this last week of just not being your
Yeah.
thing. You couldn't stand it. You thought it was ridiculous. So I don't know.
I
You watched
did.
episode 1. What are you feeling?
I kind of watched episode 1. I can't pretend that I watched all of episode 1.
Wow, you couldn't even
but
get through 9 minutes with your
I
attention.
just got-
your
I just
attention
got bored of the sort of to and fro. Like, I was like, well,
you know,
a
like the
friend, basically, a
serious
friend of mine
talking
said
back
to me,
and forth about it. This is really
yeah, the
serious.
super serious. Like, a friend of mine was like, oh, hey, now that you should look at the frames because they're crazy. They're really ridiculous frames. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll watch it then. And I just got so bored of the talking. And it's just like, oh, well, I brought a thing. It's like, oh, we didn't expect you to bring a thing. Well, I did bring a thing. Well, we
You
didn't
never
expect
expect
you to bring a
anything.
thing.
You never expect
We were
anything. on
really
these shows.
worried. We were really worried because I've been designing things for World of Warcraft for a long time, and like, well, I don't know. And then he's just like, LOL, snowmobile.
Yeah,
So,
kind of.
it was just kind of.
Can somebody
This
just
was
snip
kind
it
of.
out? That was Liv's review. It was like, rah, 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 LOL snowmobile.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's just kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Like a scene setting episode of a sitcom.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
sort of got to be like, all right, so this is Chris, and this is the Samwise. Someone put together a video. Someone called Scott Leeds put together a video which put Samwise together with that "It's so fluffy, I'm gonna die" thing.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that.
I was laughing for a solid hour. I
Yeah.
couldn't stop watching that video, and it was so funny. But yeah, so they're like, "Oh, here is everyone, and you know, this is Blizzard, and we make games, and yeah,
This is
so
Paul,
this
and he
is
makes
the guy, this is
motorcycles."
Paul. Yeah,
Right.
this is his wife. This is his team. These are some
You're
dudes.
so against this. You hate this. Liv.
It's-
Like you're so against it.
I'm not against it. I mean, if they want to make some kind of bizarre reality TV crossover, then it's their money that we gave them to do it. Go nuts. I'm just not going to enjoy it.
Right.
I'm not going to be like, oh my god, I love this, because I don't.
Yeah, well, if you were to see this in like an hour-long format or an hour and a half or whatever the hell it's going to end up being once you get through 8 episodes, right? It's 8 episodes.
Yeah, like 80
Um,
minutes, I guess.
So you know, it'll be an hour and a half or
Yeah.
2 hours on regular TV or whatever. If you can watch it all in a row, it's so much better. But when you only get this one little 9-minute clip of what seems like a much fuller show, right? You only see the intros, and you're like going, now I have to wait a week for what?
Yeah.
What am I waiting a week for?
Well, they tried to leave it with a cliffhanger or something, didn't they? Although I didn't go back and watch it to find out what that was.
Yeah,
It was LOL snowmobiles.
No, they're gonna drop the big. There was a big butt to Paul, and they were like, "We
Oh,
love
was
the
there?
bikes, but
Oh yeah,
Ooh. But these are snowmobiles. These aren't bikes. These are for snowmobile racing. The Horde one seems to be a tricycle. So, yeah. I mean,
Bucks,
like the
our
the
senior
biggest
art
tra-
designer broke his neck on a snowmobile, and
in a snowmobile accident with
the
Ozzy Osbourne
snowmobile
in
accident, so we can't do
1993.
snowmobiles.
Yeah, sorry about that. Man. Snowmobiles are right out.
Right.
I mean, like,
Right.
fair enough. The tracks on the Horde one, where it's kind of the two tracks side by side, like it's kind of all right, fine. It looks a little bit like some of the Iron Horde stuff that we've seen coming out of the data mining for Warlords. On the Alliance bike, it just seemed
Yeah.
really out of place to me. Like
Yeah.
that's not Alliance-y to me.
It really did, but I think what they did was they came up with a concept for just whatever bike wins, it's gonna have treads. Damn it, it's gonna have.
It's gonna
treads
have
on it.
treads, okay?
And,
Treads are a thing.
Yeah, they're the new thing for the World of Warcraft bikes, and they're laying them out there, and they're like, yes, we are gonna push these treads out into the game. And I actually think the treads are a new little thing for World of Warcraft. That would be
Yeah.
kind of cool, right? I mean, it's not
That's-
bad.
Yeah, I mean, like the one thing that someone said to me when I was sort of saying, "Oh, I hope you like treads," both factions on Twitter, was like, "Oh, well, maybe it's just so that they can actually differentiate it from the existing chopper that's in game.
Right.
Like it's a sufficient difference that people will actually be excited about it." Because I mean, there's only so much that you can do to be like, this is a new mount when it's just a sort of like it would be effectively a reskin of the Mechanahog, or
Yep.
yeah. So it's just sort of like maybe that's an effort for them to differentiate it sufficiently from the in-game one. Ow. But yeah, I was
That's-
like, I'm definitely not sold on the tank tread design for an Alliance bike at all.
Yeah, it seems a little weird, but
Liv is not sold from the second she saw the tweet about
So you're
the
not-
From the
show.
second I saw the announcement, the Warcraft tweet saying Azeroth choppers, I was just like,
to the
Wait, what?
hosts, to the bikes, to the show.
I have nothing against any of the hosts. They're lovely people.
Yeah.
Like I don't know Gary personally,
here-
but like
Here's
Oh,
here's
yep,
our,
there you go. That's the
yeah,
Alliance one.
That's
that's
the
the
Alliance
Alliance one.
frame.
Like if that was the Horde one, like I could understand that. And like Chris,
But
and like
you're not
Monty
even close to
Monty
being
Kroll,
done.
who
You're
was
only
Monty
looking
Kroll
at
and
the
Tara
frame.
Gregory are just like,
But you're only looking at the basic frame. Like you're not even seeing the bike. This
Right.
is like this is like the bones of it. I mean, there's gonna be so much more that goes into this thing. It's not even gonna look like that when they're done.
no, I don't know. Yeah, to me it just looked like this is not an Alliance machine.
No,
I mean, it
not
doesn't
really.
matter. Like, it's all going to be filmed. The bike's already built. Like, this isn't happening in real time, guys. That's not how
When did they
TV
get,
works.
When did this 100,000 views? Does this guy look? That guy looks like the doctor from the guy who sold Bioware. What's his name? One of the guys who
Oh,
owned
boy.
Bioware.
No.
Inside gamer joke thing. Not even a joke, but he kind of looks like him. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. The guy who made. Forget it.
No.
I'll find him.
No,
Doctor.
no,
Wait,
Gary.
Dr. Swotor might pull up something really terrible, I'm afraid of. Pulls up graphs, pulls up charts. This guy. He looks like this guy.
This guy. That guy.
This guy.
We can see his
Oh, that
screen.
guy. Oh, that guy.
That guy.
Yeah, he does kind of look like. He looks exactly like that guy.
He
Right?
does look kind of similar to him,
He
yeah.
looks exactly like that guy.
I'm like, when did one of the guys from BioWare, he used to own, but he started BioWare, he sold it, when Swotor flopped, but now apparently he's in disguise working at Blizzard.
Oh, we've rumbled him now. They're going to be after him. The feds are going to be on his back.
I don't know about
He-
that. I don't know about that. I don't think that's going to be a
We're
thing.
on to you, Blizzard. All right. I don't know. Bliv didn't even get through episode 1. I actually really liked it. I was kind of like stuck for the entire 9 minutes. I watched the entire
Oh,
thing.
cool.
No disruptions. I don't know. I still think it's cool. I'm gonna watch every episode.
I was all right, and I watched the intro, and it felt very much like an intro.
And you were done? That's it? You watched the intro? You were done? You didn't watch
And
the
then
whole thing?
I watched the intro, and I went, "This feels like an intro. It feels like an intro segment for a real show." And then
Intro,
I didn't get
did
the
you
rest
watch
of the
the
show,
9
and I'm like,
minutes?
"Yeah, I watched the 9 minutes, and it's just
Oh,
one
okay.
big intro. That's all it is.
Oh,
It's just one big intro."
I
Maybe
mean, that's
it'll
what
be
it's bound to be as well. Like,
Right. I was kind of like, well, I wanted a little bit more show out of the show. That's what I wanted.
like,
Yeah.
It got
Just
8
a little.
and I'm
episodes.
clearly
A
not the
lot to
target
do.
audience for this.
I guess next week I will get more show. So
You'll get
there
more
we go.
Remarkable. Yeah. I'm just not the target audience for this. Like,
No,
this
you
isn't
are not.
aimed at me. This is aimed at you guys, not at me.
American.
And it's fine. That's
All
fine.
Let's move on. I like the show, Bliz. Let's talk about some PAX. PAX East over in Boston happened over the weekend. None of us went.
No.
Nothing else to talk
No.
about.
Nope, that was
Um,
it. Moving on, next segment.
Nothing really there. No, there's a lot of info actually coming out of PAX for Blizzard. So I don't know. Before we get into like the Warlord stuff, there was an adventure mode announced for Hearthstone, which is interesting. Sounds pretty crazy. New cards. I don't know.
New card backs, yeah. You can earn cards through it. I think you can earn legendaries through it even. There's new card backs for it, and yes, like a campaign content.
Kind of
Yeah.
unexpected.
You played
It kinda
Order and
came out of
Chaos
nowhere.
Duels.
And it seemed like soon. It was quick. Like Hearthstone doesn't really feel like it's been out long enough for them to be like.
Well, I know. I was trying to when did Hearthstone actually properly release? Like go out of open beta and like then flip that switch into release.
This came out this week.
Yes.
Oh,
came out
so
this week.
smart, so smart, so fancy.
Yes. So
Yeah, no, it's kind of cool. It's different.
yeah, I kind of like the new adventure mode thing that they've got going on. It's Naxxramas, so of course I'm a fan automatically. Just being a raider. I mean,
They're no fools with that.
I am so glad that they are using the older raid content for this adventure game anyway, and I hope that they continue down that path because there are so many cool bosses and so many cool things that you can build off of all these different raids that they put out there. And this looks pretty cool actually. I mean, being able to go through all the different wings of Naxxramas and fight against these bosses like Patchwork and come up with some new cards. I mean, 30 cards I think are going to be released with everything. Once you buy all the different things, you can buy it with gold and with real money too, I think, right?
Yeah, you get free entry into the first wing, into the first quarter, which I believe is the Plague Quarter.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And then you then pay to unlock every subsequent one, which you can do with real money, and I believe you can also do it with in-game gold. So it's not just a real money purchase there, which is good. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So it's if you're earning enough gold in game, it's obviously accessible to you for nothing, and you've got the opportunity to earn cards, packs, and everything from it. So I think it's kind of cool. It's definitely something that's more interesting to me than Hearthstone as it stands right now.
I thought you were going to say than motorcycles, but that's.
It's
definitely
categorically more
It's
interesting
more
to me than
interesting.
motorcycles.
Because
Categoric. I quite like motorbikes. I just don't like this show. I don't like the concept. I like
Blizzard.
motorbikes. I'd love a motorbike. I'd love a Harley or something
Blizzard
like
is
that.
wanting to like, damn you, Olivia D. Grace, cut us a break. She won't stop.
Yeah,
She's
it's not that I don't like
relentless.
motorbikes. I
She's
love
even
World of
like-
Warcraft. I like
She
motorbikes. I just don't
she
like
doesn't
this.
like motorbikes. She's like, oh, I like motorbikes. I just don't like this thing Blizzard's doing. Fuck
Right.
Yeah.
idiots. They're just completely stupid. I don't know why they did this.
It's pretty accurate.
Who do you think the new content is sort of going to be focused on? You think it's going to be like some pretty intricate, difficult deck building stuff? You think it's going to be pretty casual?
I really do think that it could be a little bit of both, right? I mean, the adventure mode is kind of a nice break from the regular game part of it, where you're going against somebody else or against the AI. I mean, it gives you a chance to do the AI again, and hopefully they're upgrading it a little bit. That'd be nice.
hopefully.
That'd be nice. And it gets you a chance to kind of get out of the game that you've been used to, accustomed to for the last. I'm trying to think of how long I've been playing it now. It's been 9 months since the closed beta came out, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. So I've been playing it a while, so this would be a great break for me and for those guys that went into the open beta, and that was like 4 or 5 months ago. That it's got to be a nice break for them too. So yeah, I think it could be really for both, and then you'll get like Kripparrian and Day 9 and those guys trying to figure out ways to use these cards to like really maximize their gameplay, and that'll be cool. That'll be really cool to see.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's been a ton of like deck building puzzles. Like early on the Hearthstone blog, while it was still in the beta phase, there was a ton of these puzzles which CM Zaria was actually putting up on the Hearthstone blog site, which were they were difficult puzzles. And I think that I think on the one hand, it's content that is for a casual player who's sort of like, oh, I don't want to PvP because like that's kind of daunting, and PvP is inherently more scary than PvE because there's someone else there watching you. So people who are like, oh yeah, well maybe I just want to be like super, super casual and just plod around and kill some bosses in Nax. but I have a feeling that it's also going to sort of ramp up to be actually this sort of difficult player puzzles. I know, I'm excited. Maybe like I can see, speed runs of it. That sort of thing would be cool.
That would be
people
cool.
figuring out strategies, and like then there'll be whole new sets of decks and deck building for for this specific content. So I think that there's definitely, if they make it difficult, there's definitely a lot of potential there for the community to do stuff around it, which is really cool.
Is it enticing you back, Liv, to play?
It's kind of like, I don't know. I find Hearthstone, because of the focus on deck building and luck, like obviously you deck build to mitigate luck, like that's the thing. But I don't find the format enjoyable enough to learn how to deck building. So like I love ordering Chaos Duels, where deck building is just less of a thing because your deck is so huge. Like I think you have a 60 card deck rather than a 30 card deck, and that's right. That is what I said. That's precisely what I said. But it's so it's a result of that the deck building is less of a thing. But I also really enjoy the campaign mode on OCD and the kind of idea of like I can, because I'm so new to the format, like I can go back and be like, right, so that was that boss, and I failed to beat him. And the reason I failed to beat him was because he did this. And I don't know whether they're going to make it so that boss, rather like a raid boss, does the same thing over and over again, so you can then work out a way to beat that by building your deck. Because if they do that, then that's kind of cool. But if it's like a random AI that responds to you, then it's, you're maybe not so able to deck build. Like I'm interested enough to look at it, put it that way. And I haven't played Hearthstone now for about 6 months. So, yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Well, the way that I think about deck building is that right now it seems like websites are the best way to go about finding, if you're not used to building your own decks, you can go to different websites and build them, and usually there's an explanation of some way to play it, or what the gimmick is, or what they're trying to do. This is a rush deck, this is a solid mid deck, or whatever, whatever the case may be, so that you can kind of feel out what your type of gameplay is, at least with the different classes. So, and then that's a way that you can kind of say, well, I like this, but let me take these cards out and I'll put another couple cards in and stuff like that. So yeah,
for me it's just a case of like it's a lot of, it sounds like even just through that it's quite a bit of effort, and I don't actually just enjoy the format enough to want to learn how to play anything for it. It's my own fault. I know that. I like World of Warcraft. I like punching things.
Yes, that's fun too.
Not with
it is
cards.
Really different. I'm more excited about the iPad version. I haven't gotten a chance to download it yet and check it out. But it's like, what, isn't it like the #1 app already? In like
like already countries? In exactly 34 countries, I think. And it's like it's not quite beaten out. Oh man, I knew I'd forget the name of the app. Candy Crush. It's not quite beaten that out for revenue, but it's only been out a day.
Right.
So
give it some time. Give it some time. Give it some. Did you guys check this out? The other thing, this actually was this. I don't remember if this was today or yesterday. This came out. This news, which is pretty interesting. This thing called the Fireside Gathering System. I'm curious to think if you guys think this is going to work. So what this is on the iPad version. I guess this is coming soon. This is not.
26th of April.
The 26th of April, I guess, in a patch.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to sit around in the same room with your friends and play together. So you can basically kind of try and have sort of that tabletop experience with Magic cards, just with iPads. You see this? I mean, it sounds cool. I just wonder, do people want the digital like experience of sort of Magic the Gathering collectible card game, whatever your choice, insert there on the iPad, or do you want to kind of have the analog, putting your cards down and turning them sort of feel? I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult because I mean, when anytime you're dealing with like a card game, but it's digital, but your friend's right there, and I want to play my friend, but I'm going to play him with digital cards.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem logical, right? So
I want to like the reason it's digital is I want to just be like, I want to play Pat. Okay, Pat, let's play. You're home and I'm home.
Yeah, exactly. Right. With there's no travel required here. Like really I can play games with Pat even though we're on opposite sides of the country.
Hey, bring your iPad over. We're having a Hearthstone party.
iPad LAN party.
Yeah.
Like
I guess it did. I mean,
Subnet party.
is it kind of the same as like a LAN party? LAN parties worked. People loved LAN parties. They brought their Xbox.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of my take on it, though. It's like I don't know whether it's relevant so much to compare it to playing like Magic or playing Canasta as it is to compare it to a LAN party. Like it's people getting together to play a computer game together. Like I don't know whether the sort of physical cards is the relevant comparison to make. It's kind of I find the idea like I mean like have you played Space Team? Like that's all of you looking at your phones in the same room and kind of doing stuff together, and that's kind of fun. Like
So it could work.
I get it. I get it.
I guess with some work. I don't know how. I don't know. I was like,
Well,
totally,
and they're-
beside myself. Like, I think LAN parties kind of died because of the same reason. Because once the online multiplayer got so good, there's no need to lug your crap over your friend's house.
Well, you say that,
who
but
wants to
like
be social?
a bunch of my mates that I like back in England, we always go and play Warcraft together every Saturday. Like we go and sit in each other's living rooms and play WoW together every Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Like just recently here, we had like a bunch of us over playing Heroes together, like just to be in the same room and drink beer together and have fun playing game. Like it seems to me, I don't know. I don't know whether it's a dying art so much.
No, but maybe that's even like this is an easier. I mean, that's great, and this is actually an easier way to actually do that because you only got to take your iPad with you. So it's like this is
Right.
a lot
Yeah.
easier than lugging a
Right.
computer over.
Right.
Exactly.
Pat, you had something. What were you gonna say, Pat?
No, I was just gonna say because it's digital. I mean, and because there are so many different combinations of cards, that's another great reason why to have it in the digital format. I mean, just to say that and say, because if you were gonna lug over all the cards and then build your decks with your friends and then play whatever decks you want to play, that would take forever. So now you can just haul your stuff over and just play. So
One thing, and I
cool.
know, like, I'm just gonna throw this out. I know this goes completely against how they designed Hearthstone. It would never work. But I'm still got to say the one thing I'm slightly disappointed why I think some of this stuff would work a little better. I wish it wasn't a collectible card game. I wish it was a tradable card game. I still wish it was a TCG. I wish you could trade your cards with your friends because I feel like that experience, especially in the same room with people, that was part of also the analog of like Magic of sitting there being like, oh man, I just lost that. Oh man, you have that card. Would you sell me that card or trade me that card? And you there's a whole thing there, and that's like being social. I don't know. I kind of wish they had that in Hearthstone, but they don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
And they're
Like
not
I can see the thinking behind it. They've long said that they want it to be a CCG rather than a TCG because of the market that TCGs create for like certain cards become less valuable, and there's always like one card where if you get that, then you can trade it really well, and it gives people too much power who happen by luck to get certain cards, and that as a result of that, the dust system they feel is far better. I don't know. I feel like it can be. I feel like either system has merits.
I agree.
I don't see a problem with it being a CCG in essence. But I like if I had like I got
I come at it
opened a
more
pack
from the
and got a
social
legendary.
aspect. I come at it more.
Yeah,
from the
yeah. Like I
social,
opened a pack and got a. I opened a pack and got a legendary. Oh no, sorry, a golden. Was it Deathwing? Is Golden Deathwing a card you can get? Yeah, so I got one of
Deathwing
those.
is a card.
And like
Deathwing is
I
a
haven't.
card.
Oh, yay! I haven't played it like since about a day after I got that. And I wish I could give it to someone who really wanted it. Like I wish I could hand it out to people, but I can't. Like that would be nice. But then on the other hand, I take their point about the CCGs.
Pat, how much time have you had on the iPad version?
A little bit. I mean, it came out this week, and I've probably played it at least a little bit every day on the iPad. I mean, not maybe a couple of games here and there.
And what's your take on it now compared to the desktop version of playing both? I mean, is it really? Because I always thought it looked like it was going to be the ultimate on the iPad, like a perfect device for this game.
Oh, it's nice. It really is nice, and they did a very nice job. It plays very similarly to the desktop version. The only thing is, when you're like buffing other cards or whatever, you actually have to drop the card in, and then I mean, it's just like little mechanical things that you have to deal with. But other than that, it plays pretty much exactly like the computer game. So it's great.
How is it with the? Because I noticed you got an iPad Mini.
Yep.
That was a mini, right? How is it with the touch screen? Because I know that from playing Order and Chaos, like the amount of times that I've just been like, that's not what I meant to do at all. Have you had that yet?
Sometimes it's a little tricky, but for the most part, it's been pretty good. The way that you shuffle through your cards and everything like that, and sometimes you have like little dragging issues or whatever. But I've never, so far, I have yet to grab the wrong card and use it in a situation. So
Well, that's good.
I don't know if that's just me or if it's the game, but it plays pretty well. So I'm happy with it.
All right, there's also 4 new heroes announced for Heroes of the Storm this week. Was it Murky,
Yes.
Lily, Brightwing, Zagara?
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys gotten a chance to play any of them yet?
I played a little bit of Brightwing, which is like after that I saw the trailer, it was just like that is a hilarious and awesome trailer.
It is.
And yeah, it's kind of a fun hero actually. It's a bit crazy. I think one of the things that I find so exciting about Heroes of the Storm is how different it is. Like because of the Team XP, they're able to do so much stuff that you just can't do in games like League where it's individual. Like with the the XP and the gold farming for the item shop as well. Like they could just be like, right, this hero is like Murky is so interesting to me. Like this hero is going to die all the time, but he's got this egg mechanic where if you kill him, he can respawn immediately almost. So he's just going to run in and die until you kill his egg. And Brightwing's the same. It's like a sort of real full support hero. It's got polymorph, strong CC. It's just really interesting stuff. And like I've enjoyed them so far, and I'm really excited to try Murky when he comes out as well.
And it's really cool to see the what they're doing between all these different games, right? Because Brightwing is the Fey Dragon, or what is it? Is it Fairy Dragon?
Fey Dragon. I'm not sure what the difference is.
From Hearthstone, and so it's kind of cool to see all these different characters kind of move over. Of course, Murky. Everybody loves Murky.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't love Murky? And these trailers are just amazingly hilarious. And I have not yet been into the alpha. However, finally got it. Finally got it. So
an Adidas logo on the screen behind you to commemorate that.
Exactly right. So I look forward to playing it, and once I get into the game, yes, I will be playing Murky for sure.
Looking forward to yes. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about some Warlords. There's a little bit of more detail on garrisons through some interviews and data mining this week. So you got a little bit more detail on their leveling process. So Steve Burke had this to say. He said, it's a huge focus of ours to make sure we fold garrisons into everything. We're going to reroute you back to and from your garrison constantly as you're leveling up.
I know Liv really likes this. I know Liv really loves this.
So does this, all right, what are you thinking, Liv? Are you thinking that...
I'm just so worried. It's like I was talking about it on Twitter earlier in the week, and like and maybe the answer is just that I shouldn't be playing this game. Like, but I don't like questing. I don't level through questing. And like someone tweeted me saying, how do you level without questing in a new expansion? It's like the same way as you level in an old expansion is you dungeon.
By
like,
next week, Liv is like,
and you PvP.
No, I've never played this game.
Well, no, but like I was saying this on Twitter, it was like I really don't like questing, and whenever I say that on Twitter, people come back to me saying, "Well, why are you playing World of Warcraft?" It's like, well, because there's a whole lot more to World of Warcraft than questing, and everything that isn't questing, I really like. So yeah, but like it's people are like, "Oh, you shouldn't be playing this game if you don't like questing. You understand? It's an RPG." It's like, well, yeah, but I like to play the person of someone who stabs people in the face in arenas.
So what's scaring you the most about this?
The thing that's worrying me is like the whole thing that it's this constant back and forth. Like we're really going to like weave it to fold garrisons into everything. We're going to reroute you back and.
So you're afraid you're going to have to do this. Like you're afraid.
I'm worried that I'm going to be stuck with it. Yeah, like it's going to be sort of sitting there being like, you have to do this. You have to do this. And I'm really worried. It's just like people always talk about mandatory and how nothing's really mandatory, but some stuff is. If you want to do things, and some stuff is. I doubt it'll be mandatory for PvP.
If they're planning to make this a huge focus in the game and bring you back time and time and time again to your garrison, that means that they are pushing you into doing it and not necessarily forcing you into it. But if they lead you back to your garrison, at some point you're going to go, fine, I'll do a quest, I'll do something to make this thing go a little bit. And then, you know what, Blizz? You can go to hell. No, but it's kind of scary. One of the scary things is that this is a big new feature, and we don't know what it is really. I mean, we kind of know what it is, but it's going to be wrapped into everything. And if it fails, if it for some reason it just kind of doesn't do what they want it to do,
And it's so woven into the
right,
whole
they're going to be
gameplay.
stuck. So they really need to have this thing be awesome and really
Mhm.
make people like Liv want to use the Garrison and be able to kind of I don't know, find out all the features that this thing has.
Yeah.
I mean, do you
we
think that they
definitely-
could just kind of make it like, you know, sort of if you want it to be on autopilot, it can kind of be on autopilot and kind of be there for you. And if and when you're ready to kind of partake in a little bit more, you can. But if you don't want to, it'll kind of do its own thing. Because I can see there's actually a lot of, like, I don't think there's a ton of people that play like Liv plays, but I could see there being a lot of
No.
people who aren't necessarily into player. I know there's going to be much more than player housing, but I could just see a lot of people
Right.
not really wanting to be forced into anything.
Well, okay, so there was an interview on Wowhead. I think that was released today, right? From Perk.
Yeah, it was around PAX that she was actually at PAX
Yeah.
that Perk did the interview, so it was around PAX
So-
that it came out.
So the interview came out, and it sounds really complex. Actually, it sounds
Mm.
like there's a whole series of choices that you can make, and not everybody will be making the same choices, and that all of these choices mean that you negate some other things from happening to your Garrison at the same time. So it's pretty complex. They've built in this level of, oh my God, we can actually min-max a Garrison, but I have no idea what a Garrison is yet, so I don't even know what I'm doing. So, so it seems like I'm
Yeah, we
making
definitely
choices. I'm like being forced into choices that I have no idea what it'll do.
Yeah,
in the
we
long
definitely
run,
got
and
a lot of it's a lot of pieces of information. Like,
Right.
there's a ton of information on Wowhead about this. They've data mined like everything, but it's like it's just we're taking all these little disparate parts of information and trying to form it into something which we can figure out what it is.
So
And, like,
break it
I'm
down.
really
What-
hoping
so
that they
from,
release
from
them.
everything that you guys have read together, all the data mining and all that kind of piece it together. Like, how do you envision it? What can you guys piece together?
To me, it seems like it's just going to be similar. I think the people who are looking at it saying it's going to be like Battle Pets are maybe looking at it the wrong way. I think it's going to be like more like a farm.
Mhm.
In like it's going to be a sort of set position in the world. You're going to have your plots, and you put your buildings on your plots, and then you level your buildings. It's going to be like there's going to be big impact on from questing, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of profession stuff in there as well. But we still don't really know exactly what's going on with it.
Well, it does seem like there's going to be a ton of profession stuff in there.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, this is going to be like the main way that we're going to be doing professions, and it sounds like it's going to be a quest hub of sorts, not necessarily, like 5.0 quest hubs, just these endless blue, exclamation points all over the place. But you will be questing through there time and time again. Be big focus stuff, but it'll be professions, it'll be gathering, it'll be like the NPCs can go on raids, and so that's going to be
Gather
interesting.
loot for you.
So they can get some loot for you.
Yeah, and I feel like that in itself makes it mandatory for raiders, at least. Like the fact that they can go and get loot, because that is an extra loot chance. That is an extra chance at loot. End of. The only thing that makes it possibly not mandatory for raiders is where that loot level is compared to what people are getting through raiding. Like, if it's of any similar item level to what you can get from a normal mode raid, a heroic in Warlords raid, particularly, like if it's a similar item level to normal raid, which is flex now, I can definitely see that. Like, people will be doing that if they're raiders, particularly the more hardcore raiders will see that as mandatory because it's an extra loot chance. And it sounds from this very much like, that's one of the things, it sounds from this interview, although they don't say so like out and out, like bam, this is the case. It sounds very much like it's going to be definitely character by character rather than account wide. And I know we'd heard that before at BlizzCon, but then there was some whisperings that they might be able to take it account wide, and now it definitely sounds like it's character by character.
I just wonder
doesn't make me that happy.
Yeah, I know, and especially when you combine it with the complexity that they've kind of built into it, or that we've heard about.
Yeah,
it definitely seems like it's going to be complex. So if you add that to it's for each individual character and not account wide, that could spell disaster for it. I mean, for a lot of folks, I mean, there could be some serious uproar in and out of the forums on this one.
And talk about uproar. So these are the kind of statements I think that people get a little bit scared about. So
yeah,
this is they're talking about when they're coming. This next statement's about professions and how garrisons are going to be a huge part of professions. This is Chris Zierhut, and he said this. He said garrisons are tied to every aspect of max level trade skills. So if you want to advance your trade skills, you have to build that up in your garrison. Those are the kind of statements that I think scare some of the players, especially when they just so definitively say every aspect of this is going to depend on this.
Yeah. And it's as well like it's, to me, this is similar to that bit in 5.0 where they locked recipes behind the daily quest reputations.
Right.
Like, so if your main, hypothetically speaking, your main is an alchemy stroke jewel crafter for whatever reason. That just happens to be the two professions that my Shamui EU side has. Then you've got a second character who's like as far as your actual characters go, as far as the like combat goes, is definitely your second character. But they are herbalism and tailoring. Then your third character is enchanting and inscription. Like, that's 3 characters you've got to build the garrison on. Yep. And like the problem I had in 5.0 was that, like, although admittedly it was for fewer things, there was still the recipes which were locked behind the daily quests, and it wasn't impactful. But this to me is saying, like, if you don't do these garrisons, if you don't do this leveling by questing and like get these quests done to get your garrison, you can't max out your trade skills. And that to me that's kind of worrying to me. Like, this is part of what's worrying me about it. Like, I'm all for it. Like, player housing, awesome, go nuts. Like, I mean, it isn't content for me particularly, but I can understand why people love it and are excited about it. I'm excited about aspects of it, but not this one.
Yeah, it seems a little weird. So one of the things that kind of comes up in this discussion is when talking about buildings, because we have several different buildings that you can purchase and put in your garrison, and then you level those buildings up. And I think that will have something to do with actually leveling your professions or your status, or being able to unlock recipes or do more with your profession. And so if you're really trying to maximize your profession and get the fullest you can out of it, these garrisons are definitely going to help. I just hope that not doing it won't kill you. Like, if you don't do it, if you don't do it, you won't feel like, oh my God, I'm missing out on like all of this stuff that's going on.
Well, like that horrible feeling, which I don't doubt like you're familiar with as well. Like if you're in a raid team, if I'm not doing garrisons, I'm letting my whole team down. Right. I should be doing this to maximize my loot chances. I mean, professions aren't impactful, and I see a lot of people talking about professions in chat room. So remember that in Warlords, professions don't have combat bonuses anymore. So all of the combat bonuses, the enchanting on rings, the extra sockets you get from blacksmithing, things like synapse springs, all of that stuff is going away from professions. So professions will not be impactful on raiding anymore. But the extra chance at loot from sending your followers out to do raids or to run dungeons, like that is something that raiders will, depending on the item level, is something that they will categorically want, particularly early on, where everyone's leveling and in greens and blues. It's categorically going to be something that people want to do to get into raiding.
What do you guys think? How is this going to affect gathering professions? So we heard about like the fact that you're going to be able to gather every single type of material, regardless of whether you even have the profession or not. So I don't know. You guys think this is going to have any sort of impact on gathering professions?
It should, and I think that's fine, because I don't really see. I mean, I understand that people go out and gather now, and I understand why. I mean, they just want to go out and make some gold, or maybe they're gathering for their blacksmithing paladin. Who knows? But so affecting gathering, I don't think will do too much for professions, and it's not really like those professions. I don't really consider them to be, the gathering professions, to be the same as crafting professions. They're definitely not as interesting. In the long run.
For sure. I think it's very much like it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be any more impactful on gathering professions than the farm was. Like, once you had your farm up to a certain level, you could farm a lot of the different items that you would be out gathering, and like, as people still gathered, like I certainly still gathered, and that's it's I don't think it's been a big deal. I think if you're able to get the materials elsewhere, then that's great. I mean, like leveling gathering professions, if you want to do it, then awesome. And I don't think that being able to do them yourself, as long as they get the quantities right, it's not going to destroy any kind of market for things like ore or herbs or leather. It's not going to destroy those markets on the auction house. So I don't think it's going to have a huge impact, hopefully.
Hopefully.
We also heard about the aim that professions are going to have with warlords is going to be actually, or professions, I should say, is actually going to be, their aim is to make it more towards for people to sell things to other people.
Which is awesome.
Which
This
is yes.
Oh.
No, go ahead.
This
how
is
do they,
well.
how
This
do
is
they
the
aim to do that.
Well, this is the focus that they should have been on for the longest time ever. In Mists of Pandaria, we saw that, you know, like they would come out with new recipes every once in a while, but they would be kind of stuck in time. I'm hoping that what they're going to do is they're going to update the recipes all the time and make it so that people can purchase all of this stuff. So engineers will be able to sell their I don't even know what the
Nitro
boosts.
boosts.
Yeah, nitro boosts and the little things for the wrist that make it go. I don't know, whatever it is. I don't know the names. I just know I just know how to install them in my.
The tinkers.
Right, the tinkers, yes, and the parachute for your cloak and all that kind of stuff. So you'll be able to sell that stuff, which is really cool. And I hope that they do the same thing with craftable gear, where they update it like for every raid tier, so that you can sell this stuff to people that are trying to catch up in the system. And this is kind of what professions were meant to be about.
Yeah, exactly. This is kind of like professions. Like, why do we have professions in the world? Why are you well, not you, obviously. Why are you a plumber? Why is anyone a plumber? It's like, it's not so that you get plumbing bonus when you go to play a football match. It's so that you can make money. Like,
plumbing bonus.
Yeah, like +3 agility for your football match. It's so that you can make money. Like, that's what, and it makes sense to me that that's what professions are for in WoW. And certainly historically, like, Pat's completely right. They've just been abandoned halfway through expansions, and if they keep it going, so that OMG, like every time there's a patch, a blacksmith can make some awesome armor, or like engineers can make new fancy stuff, like make the scopes and the engineering helps with cogwheels and all of that stuff lasts longer, and that will make professions really fun and something that people want to do because they can make money with it, rather than just a thing that you have to have engineering because synapse springs, or you have to have whatever. And I'm actually really excited about that. Less so with the garrison element.
Right. Not so much the garrison stuff, but the profession stuff is actually looking kind of cool. So.
In isolation of the garrisons, yeah.
What about this? This excited a lot of people when they showed this off. Was when they talked about how you could have these followers with your garrison to go out and do things for you and kind of bring stuff back and all that stuff. This Wowhead interview here it sounds like that they're going to be to actually how to get followers and recruit them and things like that. It sounds like it's going to be very heavily tied into questing as well. Right?
Yeah. Yay. I mean, there is the inn. Like, I'm hoping that the inn, which is basically the inn is a building where people come and like hang out in your inn and drink beer in your inn, and like then you can recruit them to be your followers. But they also talk in this interview about how, what you're gonna do. It's gonna be so cool, you guys. You're gonna go out into the world, you're gonna do some quests for someone, and then they're gonna be your follower. I'm just like, there's other ways to get followers.
Right. Right.
I'm sure there will be. I'm sure it won't be 100% questing, right, Blizzard? I'm so mad. I'm so mad at you guys.
Yeah. I hope that that's the case as well. I mean, they kind of tried it on the farm this time around as well, where you would go out into the world and you would do quests for the different workers around the farm area, and you would bring them stuff, and then you get bonus reputation with them, and you'd make friends. And I think they were really experimenting, trying to figure out exactly what garrisons would be with the farm. I mean, that's kind of what it seems like to me. And hopefully,
I thought about those quests.
Hopefully they've refined it a little bit to kind of figure out what it was about farms that was cool, and now let's try to take that into the next level and try to make sure that it stays interesting, because everybody was really into the farms for about, I think it was like 3 months. and then everybody went, I don't think I need to farm.
That's it.
I really don't think I need to.
Yeah, I mean, like I have 16 level 90 characters now, and like I've do a ton of PvP. I've done a bit of raiding, like not hardcore serious heroic raiding, but I've done normal mode and a ton of flex, and I still don't have anything more than like one plot on any farm. Like, you don't need them.
Right.
And I hope that that's the case with garrisons.
Well, and I see it in the chat room. People are saying that this is just Farm 2.0. No, it sounds like there's so much more to it that we're gonna want to do this. But I just hope that we don't feel forced into it.
Yeah, that's a really fine line to tread. Like the difference between like, oh, this is really cool content, I want to do this, versus, oh, I feel like I have to do this on every character.
Right.
What are you guys' thoughts on what do we know about like the data mining in different interviews, dealing with different buildings and things like that and perks? What do we know about that?
Yeah, there's been a ton of stuff that's come out just today, actually, which is again, Wowhead. I'm sure it's on other sites as well. But things like there's stuff that unlocks vendors in your garrison in the different buildings. Like a lot of the level 3 stuff increases followers, increases capacity for storage. So I think there's going to be taking stuff out of your bags. There's one where it's like there's a couple where they're vendors. Sorry, I'm looking at the list, which is why I'm looking down. It's kind of bad of me, but I can't remember this thing off the top of my head. And yeah, there's a ton of stuff which is like transmutation, and it's pretty exciting. New pet options and pet missions. It's kind of cool.
It's kind of like the perk stuff that we're going to be getting for leveling, right? So for leveling, we're also going to be, for our abilities, those are going to get these, perks as we go through kind of randomly. And so this kind of feels like that a lot, where they're just going to be increasing what you can do with these different buildings as you go through. So it feels right. It feels like that part of it anyway is on the right track for making sense.
Yeah, exactly. And like there's stuff like salvaging, like you can transmute materials into gold, and there's there's neat stuff in there. There's stuff which you can see that you'd want, but it's I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting for sure. And there's a thing in there called a sparring arena, which I kind of like the sound of.
Yeah.
What about this lift? Because you like beating on things, you like hitting things with a big stick. So they talked about garrisons being attacked by NPCs and things like that. You're gonna actually defend your garrison against NPCs and attacks. I mean,
that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Like it's kind of like, I suppose it's like there's various different things where towns are being attacked by NPCs and you have to go back and defend them. And they were talking in the Wowhead interview about how if you lose the attack, like your garrison doesn't get destroyed or anything, but there's this morale mechanic which is tied into your followers. And if you send your followers out to do a raid that's too difficult for them and they fail, they come back and their morale is lowered. So they have to then. They'll be less good until they succeed at something. So if you send people out to do things which are too hard, then they won't get there, and then they'll actually become less effective from doing it. So it puts some gameplay into the followers and into sending followers out to do stuff for you. And the same applies with the defense of the garrison. If you are attacked by the Iron Horde and you lose and you fail to defend your garrison, then their morale takes a massive hit. And then you've got this kind of crappy followers for like however many days that takes them to build morale up again. And it's kind of cool. It's kind of a neat idea. I can see it being like it can happen at any time, and it will let you know wherever you are. So I can see like someone, in a raid, like killing a boss, and it's like, oh, your garrison's under attack. You're like, oh my god, go away, pop up. Like, Jesus, I don't want this. This is the worst thing. I'm sure they won't do that, but
I'm just waiting. Nice. I'm just waiting for, instead of having to build up their morale again, you have to give them like 10 daily pep talks, and then that becomes the new daily. It's the pep talk daily, and you're like, come on, guys, you can do it. You're better than this. Come on, I have faith in you.
Yeah, exactly. Like that kind of thing. I find the follower elements of it pretty. Like that to me is the bit that's interesting about garrisons, is having this little group of people, and you're building them up, and you're speccing them, and you're like, right, group of people, I've made you awesome. Now go punch some things for me. And like, oh my god, my people are under attack. I'm gonna go and defend my people. Like my little dudes. I get attached to NPCs which are in my care. And it's just like yeah, that's fun. And I'm hoping, like I spoke to at what convention was it? Gamescom, I think, or was it BlizzCon? No, it's BlizzCon, excuse me. I spoke to Ray Kobo about garrisons, and he was saying that there was the potential in time for them to become something that players could attack. At the time, they were still saying that you could place them anywhere in the world, Whereas now it sounds more like they're kind of phased and in one position, like the farm. So I don't know if that's still a possibility, but if that is a possibility, that'd be so cool. Like,
That would be cool.
all of a sudden, you would find me nowhere but the garrison planning some epic attack on someone else's garrison. I'd be going back and doing all the quests. And,
Right.
like,
Now all of a sudden
recruiting
she
all the
loves
followers.
everything about it. Now I love the garrison.
She's just
Yeah.
trolling people. That's it. That's
It's just
it.
like, I'm sending your dudes to attack your dudes. All my dudes are tanks. Have fun. Yeah.
All right,
I don't know.
I want to talk about Valor points, but first, got to take a break for our sponsor, Audible. Want to hook you guys up with a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook. All you have to do is go over to the URL audible.com/gamebreaker. That's the URL you're going to want to use. Go over, sign up, make a new account. The offer is only good for people making new accounts. And we're going to hook you up for a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook. And if you haven't checked it out, they've got tons of World of Warcraft stuff on there. Well, tons. They have like 4 or 5. What do they got now? They got 4 or 5. Oh, look at these guides coming in. Ultimate Guide.
Oh,
That's
cool.
cool. Gold making
The
guide.
Ultimate World
Cool.
of Warcraft Guild Guide. The Ultimate World
Nice.
of Warcraft Profession Leveling and Gold Making Guide.
Josh Abbott is jumping on this like it's going out of fashion. Good job,
Yeah,
Josh
he
Abbott.
really
Like,
is.
way to find an untapped market.
There you go.
There you go.
That's good.
But Wolf Art's on there, Storm Rage is on there, Tides of War, and the Vol'jin Shadows of the Horde. Take a quick listen.
Though that was his primary line of reasoning, the whispers and tutting from the two Chang sisters gave him further cause to hold back. The two of them were old enough to remember when Lu Lang had first departed Pandaria, or so they said.
Lang.
Though their fur ran much more to white than black, save where they darkened it around their eyes, Chen assumed they weren't quite that old. They'd spent all their lives in Pandaria, and very little of them in the company of those who had lived on the Wandering Isle. They'd developed opinions of those who chased the turtle, and Chen had taken a delight in confounding them by acting against type.
Check it out, check it
Really,
out, check
in
it
their eyes,
out.
was purely-
Download the app, put it on your iPhone, your iOS device, your Android device, your Kindle Fire, your whatever you got. They got an app for your device. Check it out today. Go over to audible.com/gamebreaker. Support Gamebreaker by supporting our sponsor, Audible. Love having the Audible on as sponsors for Legendary and all of Gamebreaker. All right, last up this week, we heard some more information about the removal of Valor points. So if you guys didn't already know, Valor points are going, and players are understandably a bit worried about not being able to get loot. It's all about the loots. So what the devs are saying is that instead, they're going to make loot drops more regular and increase bad luck protection. So you aren't reliant on Valor or something like it. First up, all right, I don't know. What do you guys think players will be happy with a purely luck-based system, even if it's more drops than before?
Well, nobody's ever gonna like anything. Nobody's ever gonna be really happy about anything, especially when it comes to loot, because they're gonna feel slighted in some way. And
Yeah.
Valor, the way that Valor has been in throughout Mists of Pandaria was kind of like your backup system, right? So if you didn't get the drops, you were using Valor to supplement all of your rating. And we saw in Throne of Thunder, at the end of Throne of Thunder, we saw that people in LFR with, that were LFR raiders only, they were still able to get eye level 522, I want to say it was, which from all the Valor gear, which
Yeah.
is a lot more than what they could actually get through LFR only.
From the Shadow Pan Assault, yeah.
So they were able to get all of their 522 loot before the end of Throne of Thunder, and then Blizzard actually got rid of all the Valor loot for Siege of Orgrimmar, and it seems to be working out pretty well. So I'm fairly happy with it. I think that once we get into it, it'll kind of make sense. So
Yeah, I don't know. I think what they were saying is like the improvement. They wanted to take the Valor system where it was a solution to being unlucky and make it so that you were substantially less unlucky and therefore did not require that solution. So the bad luck
Right.
protection, which we hear about, we don't really know how it works. Like we don't really we know roughly how it works. Like we understand that if we keep not getting a drop, and we'll every time we don't get a drop off our bonus roll, then we're getting more and more likely to get a drop next time. Like what we don't know is like if you have never seen a certain trinket on a bonus roll and you get a pair of boots, does that then reset your bad luck protection for the trinket, or does something else happen, etc., etc.? Like, does it count you're getting loot off of normal rolls? We just don't know much about the ins and outs of how it's going to work or how it works right now. And I as an aside, I feel like that would be really helpful if we did know more about that. But what they're basically saying is that you're going to make the bad luck much less problematic. So they're saying it on bonus rolls only, which kind of troubles me a little bit. But if you're not grinding out valor as well as coins, then you're only grinding one currency, and I guess that's okay. But yeah, so every time you get you have a bonus roll and you don't get something, it's going to be much more lucky, and there's going to be much more loot dropping, and the chance of you being really stuck for something is going to be much lower. And they're saying that that's going to feel better than being like, I have this bad luck mitigant, is going to be worse than I'm never unlucky. And like I can see that. Like I can see how it's more fun to be lucky and not have to be like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to have to buy some valor now. But on the other hand, people are unlucky.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's easy to feel unlucky as well, whether even if that your luck is substantially improved from what it was before, it's easy to feel like you're the unlucky one. Particularly with personal loot, because you see a lot of other people getting loot and it's just a random chance. Like, it seems to me like with this bad luck protection stuff, personal loot is really the way to go. Like, you'd be a fool to use Master Looter. But I can see how people feel unlucky from it. And that's a huge issue. Like, is that perception of having bad luck and having no mitigant for it is a big problem. And I agree that the Valor for upgrade system has worked quite well, but you still need the initial item to upgrade it.
Right.
And like at the end of an expansion where we are now, I don't think it's so bad, but at the beginning of a new expansion where we're all in blues and greens, like those drops are so important.
Yeah.
And having some other way to get that gear is just like, that's kind of useful. But I'm kind of, I like the idea of it, but I want to see it in action before I really be like, yes.
That's going to be the thing, right? Is just being able to see this thing in action once people can get into alpha, beta, whatever the hell they're calling it now, and be able to kind of check it out, right? So
yeah.
So I don't. It's not inherently a bad system, I don't think, because you're still going to be able to. I think everybody, according to this, it looks like we're still going to be able to get loot, and we're going to be able to get more loot, better loot, and smarter loot. So hopefully that is the case when we get into Warlords.
How do you guys think? They're also saying that there's going to be a less chance of duplicate items. How do you guys think that's going to work? Especially with like random bonuses like Warforged, Socketed.
Right. I have the same headpiece in all the different flavors. For my druid right now, I have flex and normal and heroic, and I think I have a warforged, and I may even have a heroic warforged of the same damn thing.
Out.
So it's like I'm getting all of this gear, and I'm like, I think last time I finally sold a few of them, and I was just like, all right, just take these away from me, please. But it's been kind of funny. I mean, so I really hope that they figure this out so that we can get some more even loot spread for what you need, because especially when you're talking about like the 4-piece bonuses and when you get into that kind of area where you really want to get that 4-piece bonus and you just cannot find that 4th piece.
Yeah.
That
and you
is
keep getting
the
braces.
most.
Just like you're drowning in braces. Like, oh my god, just give me some shoulders.
Bracers and belts, right?
Yeah.
And it's never trinkets. It's never, your 4th piece. It's all this other stuff that you're just kind of like, I have no idea where I can even find this stuff. It says that it's on this boss, but like I would ever know.
Yeah, really. It's like that Immersius trinket is kind of famous for that as well. Like that Immersius trinket, which is like best in slot for so many people. And people are just like, I just keep getting the same thing off Immersius, and it's never the freaking trinket. And I think that that's really cool. I think that as far as the Warforged and Socketed items go, I'm almost certain that they're going to have to be like, right, once you've got the basic item, you won't get the basic item again. Once you've got the Warforged basic, then we will also take you out of the queue for that. And then once you've got the Warforged Socketed basic, with like that item is never going to drop for you again. And I can't see them being like, right, you got them, like hoardified bindings of the Hordius, and now you're never going to get the Warforged or the Socketed item because then you just be like, oh crap, I really need the Warforged item of that because the Hordius buff is so good. But it's like, I can't see them doing that. I can't see them doing that thing. And I do think that the duplicate item removal is really good for the bad luck protection. Like once you've got an item, you're not going to see that same one over and over and over.
What do you guys think about the Valor overall? 'Cause when we first started talking about it, I started watching chat room just started blowing up, and I think people are like really kind of concerned about the whole thing. I mean, do you guys think that removing Valor for upgrades is actually like sort of like removing gameplay for a lot of players?
No, I don't think that upgrades were ever really a choice. I mean, I don't think that it's one of those things where you go, I'm not gonna upgrade my gear. It's not really compelling gameplay. When you look at it, you just go, okay, I finally have enough Valor from whatever I was doing. Now I can upgrade my stuff.
Yeah, and it's like 250 Valor. It's like it's value you earn without even thinking about earning Valor. Like you don't even need to go out and be like, oh, okay, I need to earn some Valor because I've got to upgrade my stuff. Like you just you look at your character pay and you're like, oh, I've got like 1,200 Valor. I'm gonna go upgrade some things. And it's just like there's not. I mean, I'm sure if you're a hardcore raider who's like in the world first race, if you're Trekkie, for example, then you're like, okay, this is serious. I need to do this right. And like you'll have a method, and you'll have maths, and you'll have spreadsheets, and it'll be like EVE Online. And then you'll be like, okay, now I can upgrade my item. But for the rest of us, it's just like, oh, I have Valor, I should spend it.
I don't know if Trekkie is really like that. I mean, he was on last week's. He was on last week's CTR, and he's
Stop
not
ruining
like
my illusions of Trekkie playing WoW like Eve. Okay, I want to see him with like 9 monitors with spreadsheets on them and like his
spreadsheets, and he's calling in bids.
As far as I know,
he
he plays in the area that his camera is when I talk to him, which has like a fridge in the background, and he's like just grabbing caffeine stuff out of the fridge all the time. I don't know.
And just keep going. All right, that does it for this week. Really, next week's episode will be the last episode of Legendary for a while, so we're going on hiatus after next week. So if you guys have not started watching Convert to Raid with Mr. Pat Crane, you should be. So we've got another World of Warcraft show, but yes, next week will be the last show for a little while. We're taking a little bit of a break, a little bit of a hiatus, so make sure you go to converttoraid.com and, of course, come right here to GameBreaker.tv Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. It's a little early, a little bit of a different time slot. Sunday 9 a.m. or Thursday.
A little bit.
Thursday, sometime after 8.
It's a little bit crazy, but go check it out. And the VOD is always up on GameBreaker and Convert to Raid each week. So check it out. Follow Pat Crane at Pat Crane. Go to converttoraid.com. Especially if you guys want to join the largest World of Warcraft guild probably on the planet.
It might be. It might be.
I don't know how you deal with that. I don't know how you keep control.
Just lots of cool people, man. It's great. It's a lot of fun. It really is.
Olivia D. Grace. Follow her on Twitter at Olivia D. Grace.
Do that.
You can find her over on WoW Insider, Zam. Where else? There's like 8,000 places now.
Skill Capped, Wowhead.
Everywhere.
I'm in your internet, people.
She's everywhere. WoW is. It's crazy.
Everywhere. You can follow me, Gary, again, and follow GameBreaker TV, and make sure to go check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/GameBreakerTV, and check out our deals page, GameBreaker.tv/DEALS. Deals. We got a bunch of great deals on video games and all kinds of other good stuff, so check that out. All right, we'll see you next week. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week for more Legendary.